Hello, true Americans. We are at it again with Umar Johnson. And let me just say, oh boy, is this one a doozy. I mean, the dude begins his video saying the most racist, dumb, and frankly uneducated crap you will ever hear. But because it sounds good emotionally, his dumbass followers just eat it up like the fools they are. Enjoy the show.
If you're taking money from white folks, it comes with conditions. Every Negro in America knows every white dollar comes with conditions. So if I am serious about helping black people as a politician, a preacher, a community activist, I don't take money from white folks. Now, here's the bigger question. Black people in America are a $2 trillion economy. We're the richest group of Africans on the face of the earth. We're the 10th richest economic power in the world. Why do we care about taking money from white folks? How about we stop spending $2 billion on Air Jordans every year? How about we stop spending $4 billion on liquor and alcohol every year? How about we stop spending $1 billion on chicken, turkey, beef, and pork, financing our own cancer? Why don't we stop doing that? You see that? Why we buy 3 times the amount of Mercedes-Benzes as white folks, but yet we have less than 1/3 of the wealth of white people? You see that? Will Smith said something. Will Smith said this. Will Smith said, black people spend too much money they do not have, buying things they do not need to impress people they don't even like. Get your financial priorities in order. You will never have political power until you have economic organization. We need Black Wall Street Boston. That should be the whole conversation. Black Wall Street Boston. If you're a preacher, politician, community organ, Black Wall Street Boston. That means a black hospital for Black Boston, a black independent school, not no charter. I said independent school for Black Boston, black supermarket, black bank. We need Black Wall Street Boston.
Okay, let's really listen to what he said and seriously ask ourselves if this seems even close to reality. He first starts by saying that he does not take money from whites because it comes with conditions, and asserts that in order to be serious about helping black people, he has to accept their money exclusively because it does not come with conditions. In other words, he is admitting that he does not want to be financed by white people because then he has to complete his work, and so he wants to only get money from blacks so he can profit without work. What a confession, Umar Dunbar. He makes up some bullshit estimates that he did not show any evidence for and tries to make black people feel ashamed of themselves by accusing them of wasting money on accessories to get white people to like them. In all that time, did you guys see what chart or any link to a credible source? Nope, and that is the deception at work. He wants to distract you with first appealing to your sense of entitlement as a black individual ranting about how much money you have or deserve, and then accuses you of stopping your own success. The reality is that Umar doesn't work, doesn't have a home, and relies on panhandling to make ends meet. He will not make you successful. You are a success if you see yourself as one. Don't let dumbass Barr get in your head and fool you into thinking that you are not good enough. Lastly, it is hypocrisy on Umar's part to lecture about trying to impress others they do not like. Ask yourself if you truly believe Umar even likes the black community, and then try to explain why he spends so much of his time away from the black community on donation money from black people. The sad reality is that for all of Umar's speeches and claims, he has no love for his own people and has always just wanted your money. You need to realize that fact sooner rather than later.
You've been organizing this school for many years.
Yes, sir.
People have applauded what you are doing, but it is a very difficult task. I mean.
Yes. Gotcha.
So, even in that, how do, giving that hill that you're climbing with that
Yes,
process.
sir. Yes, sir.
Man, the way they're beating you up, I might not be.
You can't stand up for African people and not expect to get beat down by African people, because our conditioning from the plantation makes it so. Don't ever say, I want to fight for my people if you're not ready to fight your people. You got to fight for your people, and you got to fight your people at the same time. But our struggles with the FDMG Academy, which are pretty much over at this point because renovations are just about done, was not so much the acquisition of the school or the renovating of the school. We were taken advantage of by our own people, black contractors, in the renovation process. That's what slowed us down. It wasn't the money from the people. It was nothing else but the black contractors. And of course, we got some issues with some of the blacks in the bureaucracy of the city where we're located, because there's always coonism going on, right? But outside of that, we good to go. It's going to be a struggle. What the f***? Nope. The problem with the 50 million Negroes in America is we don't really want to be free. We don't want to be independent. We don't even want to be equal. We want to be comfortable under oppression. Black people are not struggling for freedom, justice, and equality. We just want white people to like us and treat us better. If white people like us and treat us better, we don't give a damn what they do to us, how bad they miseducate our kids, and how much of our tax money they steal.
It is true that horizontal hostility is a real phenomenon that was used to make the black turn on each other. However, Umar Johnson engages in those same tactics by promoting racial division. He tells black people they are a coon if they question him, date any woman outside of their race, and even goes so far as to declare that any black person who doesn't fully convert to African culture is not black. Moreover, he calls blacks Negroes and warns them to not get put in a book of Negroes. So, he certainly has the fighting part down, but where is the saving of his own people at? And even if that wasn't the case, how exactly can his renovations be nearly done when there are endless videos of the building looking worse and he doesn't have any staff as far as we have seen or know? On top of that, there is no evidence of him accepting students. He would have to create registration forms and then have them sent out to the public for people to register. He would need to get qualified teachers to come to work for him, and they won't do it for free. There is still no proof he ever even tried to get one teacher to work for him since this project started. Therefore, when he says the renovations are nearly done, it doesn't show how that is even possible. I call bullshit. Also, when he talks about black contractors taking advantage of him, remember, the reason Umar Johnson stated for having an issue with black contractors was that they would not work for free, and even claimed white contractors treated him better as a result. So really, it was Umar that tried taking advantage of them, and not the other way around, but because they wouldn't do it, they are now his scapegoat.
King Kong consciousness, let's go!
Hey, if you don't know, we're talking to Mr. Dr. Umar. He's in here giving us some light.
If you don't know, you're going to learn.
Yeah.
You're going to learn today.
Yeah.
Black Wall Street, Boston.
Talk about
See,
it.
before you struggle with black folks, you got to take everybody who claim to be conscious and you got to divide them into three groups. Right? I'm talking about those who are in the know. So we do this and make you think they are long enough to get to where they want to go, and then they disappear on your ass. Be careful of the opportunists. They worse than the coon, because the coon you can see coming. You can see the coon coming. You can't see the hustler coming. Y'all know I know what I'm talking about. See, Boston has a black bourgeoisie, right? Y'all might have the original black bourgeoisie. In fact, y'all black bourgeoisie might be worse than our Philadelphia black bourgeoisie. But check this out. You can't control black people without black people. See, the gatekeeping Negro elite of Boston is the reason y'all got such a big gentrification problem. The gatekeeping elite of Negro Boston is the reason why black Boston and white Boston have one of the largest black-white inequality gaps in the entire country. You can't do that to black people unless you use black people. So we cannot be afraid to expose the coons. The coon Illuminati. You must expose them. So you got your opportunists, right? And then you got your ride or dies. They the real brothers and sisters. You understand me? They willing to go to jail for the struggle. They willing to die for the struggle. They willing to lose everything they got for the struggle. That's 1/3. And then your last third, they mean well, but they're not going to sacrifice anything for the people. You got to be careful with them, because if the pressure get put on them too hot, even though they think they for the people, they will fold like an old bag of potatoes. No.
Wow, now he is trying to get blacks to turn on each other and even accuses them of helping gerrymandering. What happened to blacks needing to stand together? That's where his whole rhetoric eats itself. On one hand, he's going to claim that America is white supremacist and that black people are oppressed, but then right after that, he is turning on the black people and accusing them of oppressing themselves. You can't first have a message of unity against a common enemy and then make half of said people part of the problem. It's an oxymoron. But these guys are all laughing and acting like Umar said something great. He is playing them for fools, to add insult to injury. He is making up words like black bourgeoisie to sound smart and convince you of a fictional elite of blacks that want to keep you where you are at in life. However, what would they even gain by doing it if they really existed? They are black as well. So, any actual restrictions on black people in Boston would apply to these gatekeepers, as Umar calls them too. The reality is that Umar wants a fucking personality cult of blacks that will do everything he says and feed his fat ass grapes because he's too good to work. So, think about this fact. Umar states that the real brothers and sisters are ride or die ones, and that they will go to jail for you or die for the struggle. However, when have you seen Umar Johnson go to jail for the community? He did go to jail for drug charges, but not for the black community. This is what I mean by Umar not going by what he preaches. He sits there in comfort lecturing about struggling, and you may even agree with him on some of his points. Nevertheless, he is not helping anyone and has never been in prison fighting for rights nor for protesting unjust laws. Therefore, Umar is not a real one by his own logic.
Know who you struggling with.
And I think we've seen all those types.
That's right. And you're going to keep on seeing more of them types until we start financing ourselves. But you don't want to dig up the ground. You want water, but you don't want lightning. Frederick Douglass said a man will only get what he pays for.
You need any, listen, I'm not usually speechless.
Oh, and by the way, hold on. The ancestors. Hold on. Yesterday, 1859 Harper's Ferry raid led by white man John Brown, right? There were 5 black men who fought for John Brown, and we never talk about them 5 black men. Osborne Anderson, who was the only black survivor. Dangerfield Newby, the first to die for John Brown, was a black man. Lewis Sheridan Leary, Shields Green, and John Anthony Copeland. So I want to shout out those 5 black men who gave their life for us to be free. Also was the anniversary yesterday of the Honorable Minister Farrakhan's 1995 Million Man March. I was there as the newly elected Black Student Union president of Millersville University of Pennsylvania. And also yesterday, October 16th, 1968, was John Carlos and Tommy Smith at the Olympics put up the black fist. Black Power, October 16th, 1968. And I got to give a shout out to Black Boston. Today, October the 17th of 1787, Prince Hall, the father of the Black Masons, no, I am not a Mason, but the father of the Black Masons and one of the grandfathers of Pan-Africanism, on this day in 1787 at the Boston legislature, Prince Hall introduced a resolution to provide black children in Boston with equal education, just like the white children in Boston, and he did it in 1787. Today, Black Power.
So, he's just going to thank John Brown's black raiders and completely ignore the fact that John Brown was the one leading the charge? Talk about overt racism. He is completely ignoring it was a collective white and black effort. Besides, the raid failed and was not enough to actually win anyone's freedom. It was an important event, but the real people to succeed in winning African freedom was a combination of groups. Said groups were the abolitionist movement, the Underground Railroad, the Republican Party, and thousands of white and black Union soldiers. Yet, he only mentions 5 black men because his message isn't truth or unity. It is just black power, and that is not different from the KKK. Also, you're talking about a resolution offered in 1787 that was not accepted, and you are the antithesis of that idea anyway. You have for years said that your school will be for black people only. So why are you praising a man for resolutions you personally reject? Umar Dunbar does not want equality and has made that painfully clear. Therefore, getting praised by such a hypocritical man is an insult to the very idea.
Now, I had one of my questions on here about the Million Man March.
Go ahead. Throw it out there.
I was there.
You was there too?
Oh, man.
I was there. We got there 5 o'clock in the morning. The sun didn't even come up. We was there when it was less than 50 people.
I think I was that early too because I was selling T-shirts, but
I might have bought one. You sold me that extra tight Million Man March tee. It was a wife beater. That T-shirt was tightish.
they were actually, I was married to Farrakhan's people, so
Okay.
I had access. It was really an amazing event. My
Beautiful.
question
Beautiful. Go ahead.
is, I think that we need another one. I want to get your thoughts about that.
Do we need another Million Man March? I'm not against it. But here's my constructive criticism to the Honorable Minister. If we're going to do it again, this time it needs to have teeth and a serious follow-up, because we did not get the Million More movement until 10 years, at least 10 years or more, after the Million Man March. We cannot bring that many black men together in the same place and not have a blueprint that we move out on immediately. We poured millions of dollars into Washington, D.C.'s white restaurants, white hotels, white transportation companies. They got rich off of us. What did we get? That's not a criticism. It's a constructive criticism. If we're going to do it again, this time it needs to have teeth. We can't hype our people up and not give them something to live on afterwards.
I really did come home with a different mindset, though.
A lot of us did. A lot of us did.
But there was nothing for me to grab onto.
No infrastructure came out of it. You understand?
Let me hear that again. Umar is saying he is not against a million-man march, but he wants there to be actual change when they do it, because the black community invested millions into it, and he asserts that we can't have that many black people and hype them up and give them nothing to live on afterwards. Okay then, Dunbar, where exactly did you fulfill your obligations when millions were invested into you and you failed to provide for said infrastructure? I mean, you are saying that such a state of being is unacceptable. So, why are you in that exact same state of having gotten rich off black folks and given them nothing in return?
Understand? That's not a criticism of the minister because we were all there together. But if we're going to do it again, right? Hindsight is always 20/20 for all of us. If we look back, I'll look back on things I've done, I could have done better. You understand? We in this together. But if we're going to do it again, put some teeth on it.
Using your word, it has to have structure.
It got to have structure.
That's what. So it has to be structured from top to bottom.
Yes, indeed.
Well, when you spoke of organization, I just thought that was amazing to get so many brothers in that space at that time in terms of organization. And I believe we did that based upon Farrakhan. Do you think there should be some, is there a voice that is as powerful, or is there someone who can bring us together like that? You sound like that, brother, right now. I'm just saying.
Go ahead.
Well, you're talking to the most requested black scholar on the planet Earth. You are talking to the #1 Pan-Africanist on the planet Earth. You are talking to the #1 black school psychologist on the planet Earth. You're probably talking to one of the most popular speakers for our youth on the college campus in history. So if I'm not at the table, it ain't a real table. I'm just going to keep it a buck.
That's what you said.
This is Marcus Garvey talking to you today.
So why don't you King Kong it?
I'm going to King Kong.
Why don't you just King Kong
I'm
it?
going to King Kong.
And you be like this. Hey, here's what we doing. Meet me.
And I do want to say this. We have to evolve away from Eurocentric structure of leadership
Okay.
back to African centered. What I mean by that is I don't want one man at the top, not even me. I might be the spokesperson, but the leadership is a team. It is a council. No more one man at the top because they can either be corrupted or killed. Malcolm, Martin, Mega. We don't need that no more. We need men, women, elders, and youth. You feel me? It's a team.
Yes.
So if you go to jail, we still rocking and rolling.
Okay.
He go to jail, we still rocking and rolling. I get taken out, we still rocking and rolling. No more Messiah. We got to get out of the Messiah complex. One of the weaknesses of black American political thought, we approach our political issues through the lens of religion. In religion, you wait for God to send you a savior. God sent us Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, right? Black people are waiting for God to send them a savior. But Chinese are making their leaders. The white man is making their leaders. The Asians and Arabs are making their leaders. We're supposed to be making and training out. Stop waiting for your leader to fall out the sky. It ain't going to happen. You got to groom them yourself.
Umar Johnson is not the most requested scholar on the planet, and he is not the most popular. He has been rejected from many campuses and canceled a great number of events. He simply wants you to think he is so he can manipulate you. Do you guys see how animated he got when the other guy suggested that Umar should be the leader of the black community, and he made his usual rant about how important he is, and then claimed that there needs to be a council of people and not himself? You might think that is wise, but it is actually a deception since he stated that nothing can be done without him before that, meaning that he is still at the center even though he wants a council of figureheads to make it not look like he is. That is also known as hiding in plain sight. He also critiques the common expectation of the black community waiting for a strong leader to help them. But he himself has a massive Messiah complex, and he demonstrated it multiple times. He's claimed to be Jesus, said the world revolves around him, and earlier stated that nothing can be done without him due to his importance. If that is not a man pretending to be the same type of prophet he is warning you about, then what is?
Right here.
Absolutely, brother Wawa.
So, but if, I mean, it does, I mean, I was enlightened by Farrakhan. He said,
So was I.
Let's go.
And we should have went, and we did.
But we don't,
I'm not saying it shouldn't have happened.
If that voice,
I loved it.
If that voice is you right now, because you are speaking that
I'm one of the voices.
Unadulterated, organic black truth.
One of the voices.
Tap hearing.
One of the voices.
Yeah,
but
there you go.
I would nominate you for that. Right? If you said let's go, I would go.
Well,
But
if it's a microphone and I'm not on it, take the microphone away. But I'm one of them. Because again, I have to lead by example.
Yes, sir.
Which is to say, don't put me up there alone. Where the two sisters at? Where the two elders at? Where the two brothers at? Where the two youths at? It should be a force of leadership.
You brought an interesting point because they end up destroying our Messiahs.
Exactly. That's why you don't put them out there alone.
Can't go that way
I
again.
wonder, because I think most people in the room could see you as that next person. Do you ever have fear for your life?
Nah.
When I study Martin and Malcolm, one of the things you often hear from those who walked with them, most of whom are ancestors as well now, they say they got to a point where they got so tired of being worried about when the bullet would come that some closest to them felt like they secretly prayed to go. In other words, they had got so exhausted by the threat of death.
Right.
Just take me and end this. I don't ever want to get to the point where I'm exhausted by the threat. I get the threats. You understand? I get the threats. But I try to, in honor of Malcolm and Martin, and Medgar, and Fred Hampton, and George Jackson, I try, and Patrice Lumumba, and Amilcar Cabral, and Dedan Kamathi, I try to discipline myself away from the fear. Because the minute you get consumed with the fear, you're no longer useful to the
You're
movement.
no longer focused.
You're no longer focused.
Well, I would argue that he is afraid. Why do you think Umar Johnson is always moving locations and staying at random hotels all the time? Because he has a shit ton of enemies that want to find him and do anything from suing him and possibly kill him for his actions. Now, I don't condone that behavior. I think he should be given a lawsuit, mocked, and certainly never be given money again. But I don't believe in violence. Nevertheless, plenty of people want to do that to him, and he knows it. That is why he is hiding all the time. Also, why did he say he needs two sisters? I can't help but feel that was a subtle innuendo since he tells women that they need to have a co-wife if they want to date him. I do not believe there is really any conversation with this man that will not revert to some sort of sexual fantasy of his. Mind you, this is the dude that talked about wanting to be around kids and teach them with that type of predatory mindset. No one who walked with Martin Luther King Jr. or Malcolm X were or are now ancestors, except for those directly related to them. Black people are not all related to each other, and pretending like someone is a deity just because they were black and died is unsupported since no one knows what happens after they die. I am also not convinced that Martin or Malcolm actually wanted to die. I am sure they got tired of the threats, and that could not have been good for their health, but that is not evidence that they actually wanted to die. As usual, Umar is talking out of his ass to get underserved sympathy.
My question to you, I'm sorry, Tam. Since we were talking about putting a panel together.
Yes, sir.
How's your relationship with the Honorable Louis Farrakhan?
We've never met in person, but I have tremendous respect for him.
Okay, but would you reach out and say, hey, let's have a conversation? If he reached out and said, hey, I heard you want to do something, would you go sit with him?
I think we could have that conversation, yes.
Yeah, I think you two should meet, and you can tell him the structure should happen, and how the panel should be. Besides all these bougie politicians with their slick hair and not there for the people. They're
Ultra perm, Jerry curl, S curl.
right, they're there for the clicks and not for the people.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
So I think that should happen.
Yes, sir.
Because I think
Yes, sir.
I think we need that. And you know what I think we need? I think each city should have a 1,000-man march, as you say, to come together.
Right.
So the youth can see, stop killing each other, and understand you're killing yourself.
And Jonathan's that voice here. He has a very strong voice here.
Nah, nobody likes me.
But you do. You know, people respect your energy, dog. Trust me.
And what's the key? What's the key? The key is to keep the voice that you choose financially independent.
Yeah, send me a check.
A big reason why we struggle is the voices we choose don't stay financially independent.
Right.
If you're working for white people, you can't lead black people. They got to be financially
But
independent.
there are a lot of times, like when you talk about the NAACP, and I hate to beat them up.
Founded by white
Other
people.
organizations, and we
Controlled
all
by
know-
white people.
We know, we understand the money that was behind the organization, and we always thought it was cool. Like, oh man, these wonderful people. That was so damn nice of them to give us and donate money, and they always put it in their history books. That's why we know it.
When I talk about the NAACP and the Urban League, I'm talking about the organization and the structure and the history. There's good people in them. I know good people in the NAACP. I know good people in the Urban League. The problem is those organizations were not founded to liberate blacks. Here's the question I would have for the CEO of the NAACP and the Urban League, especially the NAACP. Y'all spend about $10 to $20 million every presidential election cycle getting black people to vote for white people, right? $10 to $20 million every 4 years. You ain't built the school. You ain't built the hospital. You ain't built the bank. You ain't built the How can you spend that kind of money on trying to get black people to vote for white people and you've built no infrastructure in our community?
First of all, the NAACP was not founded by white people, and the fact that Umar and his friends would claim that shows how much they don't know. It may be true that it has white founders, but there are also black founders, so no single race can claim to have founded it. Yet, Umar wants to lie about it because they don't support his racist views. Says that the NAACP hasn't done anything to liberate black people, and that is despite the fact the NAACP had great influence in fighting segregation by winning Supreme Court cases like Brown v. Board of Education. You would think that Umar would know this as the great academic he claims to be. When a person claims to be a scholar and yet refuses to show credible evidence and makes bullshit claims like he just did now, you know they are not who they claim to be. Also, shut the fuck up about money spending and property building, you dumbass hypocrite. You did not do any of the things you're hating on other people for. Get back to Delaware and build the damn school you've been promising, or return the $4 million before you go on snapping at other people.
You are a complete waste of time and energy until you start tackling the issues that matter to black people. But they can't because they're paid by white people.
Tap, I wanted to go back.
One of the best decisions I made in my life is I never, ever got caught up with the white man's money. Never. And that's why my tongue is still free.
Tap,
I say what I want. I go where I want. I do what I want. Black power.
Tap, when you had asked about structure, that's why he got us as the security team, that we move a whole different way.
Yes.
So when he comes to town, he's calling Brother Chris when everybody want to be my best friend when he comes, because Brother Chris going to make sure you're safe because I'm good with people.
Yes.
He also already know I could grab the microphone and he did it.
Yes.
He practiced, don't just interview Umar, interview Wall, your city councilor, interview Brother Chris,
That's right.
who already keep introducing me to
That's
the
right.
whole hood. I already practiced it and said, I'm coming up there to get back on the radio because I'm coming to see JG. That's why I'm coming up there, and I already know everybody in there. So we practice what we hearing him preach, and we just a local representation and an extension of what he doing. Including, he always trying to recruit us to come down to Delaware, be a security at the school, teach at the school, and everything else, because you understand the concept of team. But the piece he said to JG has to be echoed in this here setting, which is financially, physically, and politically, the leaders we pick, you have to get behind them. Politically, if I tell you the person to go for Wawa with your goofy self, vote for Wawa. Stop going for them people that ain't in our interest.
You are telling black people to just vote for someone just because you say so. That is not how intelligent people operate. You also tell the black community to vote for whoa, and not outside of their interest, but who are you to assert this our shit? People have a right to think for themselves and vote as they please. You just said that the reliance on a single leader needs to end, and yet here you are trying to assert another leader that you want people to rally behind. Hypocrites. Umar Dunbar, you attended college and got a certificate. That means you got money from the federal government to attend school. Plus, you have worked before. So, you have indeed received white people money because you have paid taxes and accepted government funding. Secondly, you getting or not getting white people money isn't why you can say what you want. You can say what you want because you live in a free country and your ungrateful ass takes full advantage of it. It is why you don't leave the United States despite claiming to hate it. Well, that's the end of this video. Umar is a lying hypocrite who is using Boston as his new base of operations, and no one should believe him about FDMG at this point. Matter of fact, I am making a prediction right now. Umar is going to announce at some point that the white man took his school away, and then he's going to announce his new plan for FDMG at Boston. He will use these Dumuis supporting him on this radio show and then abandon them as well. The cycle is going to repeat, mark my words. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you all in the next one.